Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another gameplay. Today, I got something brand new for you guys again. You know what I'm bringing back? Another loadout for you guys. So this loadout is going to be a little bit different than your standard M4 build, GRAW build. Somebody who's sniping. This is for somebody who wants to get away from the typical M4 builds, GRAW run, stuff like that. I just find this class to be really fun. That's why I like using it. Do I think it's better than the M4? No. It's probably second or third place. It kind of depends on how I feel about the Grawl. I'm not a real fan of the Grawl. I'd actually like this gun over the Grawl, even though that the Grawl has more pure accuracy. The Bruen probably a little bit better, bro. Let's go ahead and get into it so I can show you guys what I run. All right, so we're gonna start with the muzzle. I personally like the lightweight suppressor on this gun for a couple reasons actually. One, you don't lose your ADS speed, so I feel like that's very important for this type of gun versus running the monolithic where you do lose your ADS speed. You do lose a little bit of damage range, but I feel like with this gun you're probably not going to be fighting from a long distance anyways, so it's not that big of a deal, and you're still covered on the radar. So I'd recommend the lightweight suppressor just to get faster ADS. Still, for underbarrel running the commando foregrip, I still find it to be the best and most accurate for this gun. Of course, another reason why I like the commando and why I run it on most of my guns is because you don't lose any ADS speed, which is pretty important, especially if you come in mid-range fights. 60 round ammunition, probably the best attachment on this gun. There's so many pros and it's not that many cons. ADS speed, sprint to fire speed, you get a movement speed, and you also get the detachable magazine, which is basically just a really fast reload. It's literally like 2 seconds and that's it, versus the like 4 or 5 seconds it would be with the 100 round belt. You can even do a 200 round belt, but of course we're not running that. Other than that, it's pretty much it. It makes an LMG pretty much an AR, a mobile AR. Now it's not going to be as mobile as an M4 with no stock or a GRAW, but it's still really fun to use. The next important thing I like to recommend would be the stock. The skeleton stock is probably the best one that you should be using. You don't lose any recoil control. So there's another one right here, like the close quarter stock, where you actually get aim down speed, but you lose aiming stability. And you got this one, aiming stability, and you got the stalker. All of them lose aiming stability. Even this one right here is a no stock, movement speed, and ADS, but you lose recoil control, which is why I don't use it. Of course, aiming stability isn't very important with LMGs anyways, or ARs, or any rifles at that. So I run the skeleton stock because you get everything, ADS speed and movement speed, and you only lose some of your aiming stability, but it's not really that much of a difference for you. And then of course for optic, you can kind of change that if you want. I like to run the VLK on all my guns if I'm running like a mid-range, long-range gun, which is what this is type of gun. This is pretty much what it's going to be for this gun. The VLK to me is just the most accurate pinpoint optic that I like. Another one that's really popular for this gun would be the Cronin. The Cronin's actually really fun to use. Not that I didn't have any good like luck with it. I just found that the optic really helped, especially on my mid-range fights where like if I'm in the forest or anything like that, I can actually see people. But this is all preference. You can really use whatever. I don't think there's that much of a difference with the ADS versus the Cronin or the VLK optic. If you don't run an optic or if you don't run a stock, you can always run. I'd recommend the stippled grip. I didn't see that big of a difference. If I wasn't running the 60 round mags, which this is another way you could actually run this gun. If you didn't run a 60 round mag and you ran the 100 round, you could actually run the stippled grip and you'd be perfectly fine, just because you get even more ADS speed and you don't lose that much accuracy. Like I said, aiming stability isn't that important for this type of gun, so I think you'd be perfectly fine without it. And of course, my secondary, still running the Renettis. I think it's fun to run the Renettis, and I like to run Ghost straight off the bat instead of having to find another loadout for it. Even though if you weren't, I'd probably recommend the MP5 with this gun, or maybe even the MP7. But I think the MP5 is the most compatible gun with the Bruen. My perks would be EOD, Ghost, Amped. I'm pretty sure we all know why we would run that. That's pretty much the most ram perks for this game. If you're not running Ghost, you're probably running Tracker. Or not Tracker. What is it called? High Alert. High Alert's actually pretty fun to use too. And there you go, guys. I hope you guys have fun trying to use this build. I say definitely check it out. Like I said, there's a couple different builds you can run with this gun. If you weren't running an optic, or if you weren't running ammunition 60 round mags, you can definitely run the stippled on the rear grip. And if you weren't running optic, you can run the stippled as well. Or you might even be able to get away without running the optic and running like attack laser to help ADS speed even more. Other than that, I hope you guys had fun watching this video. I appreciate you guys watching it. Remember to leave a comment on the next gun that you guys would like to see with another build.